Hey everyone, Lennox here. Hopefully you've been enjoying your time with Trove. I'm assuming you have been and are looking on how to increase your overall power rank and strength in the game. Well, I certainly have the guide for you. Let's jump on in, shall we? This is a reference starter guide style video, as I don't eat, sleep, breathe this game. You know, I'm not super addicted, but I do play it a lot, and I don't expect you to be addicted or do the same. You can enjoy this game at whatever pace you feel like. So I'll be explaining things in a somewhat detailed way, but broken down in simple terms. With lots of visuals and references for you to explore. We'll be discussing leveling, mastery, gems, equipment, star charts, a lot of the in-betweens to help you overall progress and enjoy. This game may look simple, but it's packed full of content. There will be timestamps at the bottom so you can rewatch or jump to parts you are more interested in. Hopefully you don't mind a few jump cuts, as this will be a longer style video and I easily forget things that are second nature to me while playing, but may end up being very helpful to you. Hopefully you don't mind a few jump cuts, as this will be a longer style video and I easily forget things that are second nature to me and may be very helpful to you in the long term. This guide is going to be based that you understand the basics of the game and you have been playing for at least a few days, or have watched my previous video. So let's go! Alright, let's start with adventuring and leveling. Adventuring is simply going into any Uber you are comfortable with and slaying enemies or clearing dungeons and bosses. It's the base gameplay loop. The faster you are, the more EXP you can get. Just a reminder though, be within 2 to 3 levels of any Uber you go exploring into for the best EXP results. There is a punishment even if you meet the required power rank for that Uber, and you are under leveled. Delves are another great source of EXP. Not only do you get EXP from the enemies, but you also get EXP for reaching the boss room and then clearing the boss. You do not need to defeat the boss to get the XP from the delve, but you do need to defeat the boss to get to the next floor. A neat trick here is, if you are leveling a class you don't care for, you can just use your main to clear the delve, then wait right before the boss room, like here, and then jump down and you'll be granted the EXP for clearing the delve. I'll give you a little example. And then you just jump down, boom, EXP for that class. And then switch back. I don't recommend farming delves for EXP, however, as you miss out on a lot of good loot and world drops from doing Ubers. You also miss out on gem dust and other items for your progress. If you can get a carry though, the EXP is amazing, but that's all up to you. Let's talk about 5 farms. A very popular method in the Geo topside is a 5 farm. It's short for 5-star dungeon farm. A group of players will gather and either one will carry or all will follow each other to farm 5-star dungeons. This can be amazing EXP with the right groups, and sometimes great item upgrades. A good way to join these is by typing in /join 5 farm to be put in a group chat with others that are interested in 5 farming. Another option if you have access to Uber 9 Plus is something called ship farming. In short, it's a type of 5-star farm in the Sundered Uplands biome, the only biome currently that spawns 5-star dungeons besides the Geo topside. These dungeons spawn in waves up to 113 as long as you can finish it in the time limit provided. The core is someone will stand on each spawn point for each dungeon, and one at the boss, and one at the reset point. It can be amazing EXP until wave 25, then the EXP stops. Most groups only go up to 50 something for the weekly rewards, however, which we'll talk about that a little bit later on when we get the gems. I'm sorry I don't have any footage of, doing a 5 farm, but nobody really wanted to do one right now, and I don't feel like doing one by myself. Let's talk about buff. And let's make your overall leveling experience much faster. In the shop, they sell XP potions under deals, which will increase your EXP rate by 100% for 1 hour. They are very nice, however, unnecessary to purchase. If you do purchase them though, they are about $1 each, or 66 cents USD if you buy them in the bulk pack. However, for only $10 a month, you can purchase Patron and have a 50% EXP increase all the time. These items do stack. However, Patron has more bonuses and uses. But let's not spend money just yet. Let's head over to the Bomber Royale. And at the bottom, there's a consumables tab and the crafting bench, and that'll let you craft a double EXP potion for only 30 coins. This can only be done weekly, however, and get used to seeing this crafting table because it's going to come up a lot later on. Now, let's quickly head over to Light's Den, where we can meet one of 2 dragons that spawn per week on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. On top of here, Flexion spawns on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and on the bottom, Cruxion spawns. It is, however, a Monday, so we will not be seeing them live in this video. I'll put up some pictures for reference. Out of these 2 dragons, Cruxion will be the one we want to look for EXP items. He does sell you 10 items per week. They typically never change, and they're always the same 10 items, but double EXP potions are only 3 Chaos Cores per purchase, and that's pretty good. On top of all that, wait for Saturdays to grind out your levels with potions. Saturdays can, but not always, give out 1 free EXP potion per login. It is also server-wide 50% more EXP and 100% more when you're a patron. On a Saturday, that's 150% or 200% more EXP if you are a patron with your potions activated. There's also some small EXP buffs in the star charts, which we will discuss later. So you finally did it. You made it to level 30, and suddenly it says you're level 1 again? What gives? So after your class hits level 30, you start earning EXP towards Paragon levels. Paragon levels? What are those? Paragon levels are levels you earn after you level to max. They go on infinitely. You also get rewards for every prime level you achieve. For every normal level, you'll gain a Trovian loop. For every prime level, you'll gain a Trovian loop, a Primal Paragon box, and Primal Pinatas. Head over to the Paragon building out here and check out what they have to offer. We'll get more into Paragon items later in the video. Let's talk about subclasses a little bit. I'm going to need you to level every one of your classes to level 30 at the very least, as you can use every class as a subclass for every other class, which is just some minor bonuses here and there, and you can hover over each one to see what bonuses are provided. And the bonuses get stronger for the higher your power rank is based on a tier. Each ability has a tier that gets progressively better. The tiers are on screen. And that does it for the EXP and leveling. Just remember to have fun while you're playing the game. Efficiency means nothing if you're not enjoying yourself. So sadly, this game does have dailies and weeklies. I know, I can hear all the groans right now. However, they are very easy and super simple to complete. You probably noticed your Starbar up in the top right corner of your game. That there grants you Cupids and Dragonite. You only get these items from the Starbar, or Masteries, Milestones, and Events. Typically, your Starbar gives you 500 the first time, then 200 the next 4 times. It's triple if you're a patron. And every few weeks, it's triple Starbar for everyone. That's 6 times more qubits if you're a patron. You just need to participate and clear dungeons, delves, or do challenges to fill the bar. Once it's done 5 times, it vanishes. Make sure to claim your items. If you're in the Uber 8 Geode topside or higher, make sure you do a couple 5-star dungeons and claim your Geodian caches and crystalline cores for your gear. We'll talk more about the crystalline cores and Geodian caches and equipment later on. Other dailies include your outpost quest. These are optional and used mostly for leveling. However, the items you can get are kinda worth it. There is a Geode Egg daily, your Bomber Royale daily, Gardens, which I don't do, Club Quest, and then your Dragon Coin and Imperium Attack dailies. If you have time, they happen every hour on the hour. Your weeklies, however, are a bit more time consuming, but you can easily split them up. Delves have a weekly drop of Titan Souls, Lunar Souls, and Spoiled Divinity. You need to open up 6 shadow caches in total each week to claim them all. If you do 1 delve to a shadow cache per day, it takes about only 5 to 8 minutes, or faster in groups if you want to knock them all out at once. We'll talk about these items a bit more in the next few sections. Another weekly that is important is 5-star dungeon farms in the Sundered Uplands. You'll want to grab your Sunder Charge crystals by defeating boss waves each week. You can claim 30 each week. Wave 55 or 71 or so will net you everything you need. This will be more relevant in the gems and mastery discussion up next. Trove also has a weekly contest. Yes, more groans. And you'd be right. The good thing is, you don't have to try very hard to get the best items every week. My best advice starting out, do the class-specific contest to get at least a score of 125 with every class that you have available that is on the board that week. It's a huge progression boost for gems. We'll talk more about it in the upcoming gem section. You can easily almost finish a class a day by doing your Starbar challenges at the same time. There's also your weekly tomes. Your rare or more uncommon tomes, they can be charged per week. These can be either very fast or may take some time. It really depends on how many you have and which ones you want to actually fill. This is all up to you, however. We'll talk more about tomes in the mastery section. Mastery is a really huge part of the game. There's always new items to collect for mastery and things to do towards mastery. Mastery has a huge impact on your stats. Well, for a while. Most everything you loot, collect, and learn gives you mastery. If you recollect it, you'll lose that mastery. There's 2 types of mastery. Trove Mastery, which grants you 0.6% health and 0.2% damage with 4 power rank for the first 500 levels. Then it grants you 1 power rank and 1 magic find per level, which equates to 300 health, 100 damage, and 2000 power rank in total. Doesn't sound like much, but it adds up, especially when it comes to mastery after 500. That magic find will be essential. Then there's Geode Mastery. It grants you 10 light and 5 power rank per level for the first 100 levels, then nothing else. So that's 1000 light and 500 power rank in total. The most important part here is the light stat. There's also a lot of rewards for reaching new mastery ranks. Mounts, currency, tomes, pets, etc. Trove Mastery only rewards up to level 1000 and Geode only to 100. However, the mastery climbs higher than that. You can check the highest mastery in the contest section if you like. These masteries will be passive and easy to obtain after a while. You can also open the collections tab and hit the trade icon to open the marketplace and easily buy any tradable items. Or you can go to the designated crafting areas and craft the items for free or cheaper. There's also fishing and farming for more mastery. Fishing is self-explanatory. Catch fish, loot collect, get mastery. Farming is something I personally haven't touched. It's easy mastery from what I hear. However, I won't be touching it in this video. There are a few guarding videos out there that explain it far better than I could ever. Let's talk a little bit about badges. In the Collections tab, there's a section called Badges. Badges are in progress towards goals. They can reward mastery and other items. It's usually a set and forget kind of thing, like fighting so many of a certain boss or collecting so many of a certain block, etc. like that, you know, easy stuff. However, you can target certain goals and get those masteries quickly. Some grant a really large boost. Talking about allies, mounts, and costumes. Allies, or pets as some call them, can be a huge upgrade to your power rank or just useful while adventuring. Some have some very specific uses, or just a quality of life upgrade. There are so many allies. Allies are sometimes given out as gifts, events, crafted, or found rarely while adventuring in Ubers or the Delves. Most of the time, they do need to be crafted, or you can buy them from other players. Check all the crafting stations you can for new allies, as there is a lot of them. This also applies to mounts. Mounts are typically only good for mastery, unless they have a gimmick or special purpose, like dragons that can shoot fireballs and destroy terrain or blocks, or any other ones that have just a nice little special ability. They're typically just there to look cool though. There's also costumes. They don't do much, but they do change your abilities, or how your abilities look and how your character looks. They can contain a huge mastery boost though, as they mostly come in multiple parts. Check out NPC's Weekly if you have cubits or credits to spend, as they run sales that aren't actually visible in the regular cash shop. It seems like a sneaky tactic, however it does happen. A big and easy way to gain all of the things we just talked about though, is through chaos crafting. Now and again you'll gain a chaos chest as a drop. And not only do these chests contain a lot of everything, including allies, costumes, mounts, etc., they contain chaos cores. These cores are used to create allies, costumes, mounts, and classes. Classes are a huge boost in your mastery when leveled to 30. It would honestly save all your chaos chests for a week whenever the rare item in the chest is actually called a mega chaos core. So you can get a lot of cores all at once. You can check the reward on the splash screen when you log in. It does rotate weekly. There's not really too much else about the chaos cores. Let's talk about dragons. They aren't anything special really. Mostly mounts with special abilities. And well, they do look cool. But why are they so important? Why was I so excited about them? Well, not only do they grant massive mastery points for learning them, they also grant you nice account-wide bonuses. And have them all, just amazing. Very huge time investment, however. There are a few ways of obtaining dragons. You have dragon souls, which are usable items and you need about 100 of them to max out a dragon. Dragon eggs, which require either fragments or specific items to convert to an egg to hatch. Hatch dragons, which require eggs and items to hatch. Fragment dragons, which require a specific amount of fragments then materials to obtain the dragon. And then primordial dragons, which require a specific egg that is a bit difficult to get. Then there's golden dragon effigies and golden eggs. The effigies are untradeable and unlock a random dragon that you do not own. You get a free one at Mastery 250, or from the weekly dragon pack in the cash shop. I would save these for the long term, however, since there are some dragons that can take months or even years if you're unlucky. Golden dragon eggs are tradable and typically sold by other players in the marketplace. You can also get them from greater dragon caches, rarely. Greater dragon caches are only in the cash shop. or given out very rarely during events. All dragons give a specific stat or bonus from unlocking them, making you more powerful overall. However, primordial dragons have the most drastic effects. Not only are they very powerful overall, they grant a 10% bonus to your gem stat depending on which dragon you get. Wow, Lennox, how do I start? This is the not so fun part. You're gonna need dragon coins, and they're not hard to obtain, but they are time consuming, as you need hundreds on average per dragon, typically 300 or 400 for the primordials. Dragon coins can be attained in a few ways: events, hourly challenges, tomes, cubits and credits, and then once a week crafting from the Bomber Royale bench. You'll be rewarded with a few dragon coins and then 2 lesser dragon caches per challenge. These caches can have flux or up to 25 coins per box. Typically it's 1 to 5. Fridays are dragon days, and they reward more caches per challenge. They also give more bonus coins for your first completion. If you're an average player that spends a few hours a day, you may see a dragon every week or every 10 to 15 days. Cubits and credits can easily boost your coins though. Since cubits are free, I'd recommend using cubits. You'll also need dragon coins for Flexion when he comes every other week. He only sells items in the form of dragon coins. He's located down in Light's Den. Your best day to farm dragon coins is on Fridays. You'll get double the rewards for every challenge and a nice bonus for your first completion. There's also increased drop rate for all dragon fragments. That seems to be about it for dragons and mastery in general. Remember, you can buy a lot of these mastery items in the marketplace if you have the funds to save yourself some time. But it's a game, and learning how and where to obtain these will help you in the future. It's a long haul endeavor. Try to enjoy it. Now let's talk equipment. Let's get into our bread and butter. Equipment comes in about 5 items that you can upgrade and personalize: hat, weapon, face, ring, and banner. You'll notice that during your adventures, every time you go up an Uber, you'll find a new type of rarity for your items. I'll list them from order from best to worst on screen now. If you open up your settings, go to miscellaneous, you can see a very cool and helpful option. You can select the option on what level rarity you'd like to pick up with your loot all. If you haven't figured it out yet, your loot all button is your interact key, but you hold it down for a moment. So whichever key you're using to loot items, just hold it down. I suggest to at least pick up Shadow and higher, as they have materials you can use and are worth more flux than others. Your loot collector will then collect all the loot that is not crystal when it comes to your equipment, so be careful and make sure you're looting what you need to loot. The best rarity is crystal, which is only accessible in the Geo topside starting at Uber 8 and power rank 5000 or so. You can also obtain crystal gear from delves at depth 115 plus and 5-star dungeons in regular Ubers. Crystal gear can drop anywhere in the Geo topside, however. Do note, Magic Find is a key stat in finding rarity of items. You'll find more Radiant and Stellar items with a higher Magic Find, however this does not affect Crystal Gear rarity. You have an equal chance of them being any rank of Crystal Gear. Your chances don't increase, but you will find more Crystal Gear on average, however. You can upgrade your items at the Forge. Most equipment requires only Flux to upgrade. Each upgrade gives you a star. Most equipment only have 5 upgrades available. This is not the case for Shadow tier equipment or Crystal. Shadow gear upgrades 5 times, then tiers up to the next Shadow. It also requires specific items to tier up. It's not worth upgrading this equipment. Shadow gear after Shadow 5 can tier up to Radiant, then up to Stellar. I'll waste these materials and money to show you how this happens. Be warned though, if you upgrade your gear using this method, once Stellar, it cannot be traded. The game does warn you. It's a rather expensive process and is not worth it. However, back in the day, this was the only way to get Stellar. Unless you were incredibly lucky. Crystal gear can also be upgraded in a similar fashion. However, the gear does not tier up like Shadow. It only drops as Crystal 1 through 4. Crystal 4 being the strongest. Crystal gear is always untradeable. Crystal 1 is almost always stronger than max Stellar gear unforged. So please, try not to waste your time on anything less. Crystal gear is found in all topside areas. Crystal 2 is only found in Uber 9 or higher. Crystal 3 is only found in Uber 10 or higher. And Crystal 4 can only be found in Uber 11 or higher. 5-star dungeons in topside can drop items 1 tier higher than what can be found. Except for Uber 8. Only tier 1 crystal can be found in Uber 8. And Crystal 4 can only drop from 5-star dungeons in Uber 11. You can find these rules applied to the 5-star dungeons and the Prime Ubers as well. However, much rarer rate. Delves 115 plus can drop all Crystal 1 through 4 in Shadow Vaults. You're also guaranteed a piece of Crystal gear every 51 Shadow Vaults. Knowing this, do not get attached to any gear. It'll be easily replaced. You can also give yourself a huge power increase in another way. Heading over to the Enchanted Forge, you may see an item in your gear on stats. Sometimes your gear will come with pearls, and those pearls give a 10% boost to that stat that they're on. Wouldn't it be nice if we could do that to all your stats? Well, you can, with Pearls of Wisdom. They are a rare and random drop from enemies in most boxes you open. However, you can also gain them from loot collecting specific gear. Stellar gear that has pearls on them can be harvested with the loot collector, along with other materials. You will get the pearls that are on that item, so depending on how many it has, you can get those and then use them yourself. You can also retrieve all pearls from gear that is spent on stellar or crystal gear. So when you put on your first pearl on a piece of equipment, you will get a new line of stats. Huge boost. You can then apply up to 8 more pearls and boost the gear by 20% per stat. Pearls are relatively cheap. There's not much more to know about pearls. If you cannot afford to upgrade your gear because of materials, at least put pearls on them if you can. There's one last upgrade we can do. Head over to your Chaos Forge and you can actually randomize the last 2 stats on your gear. So you can target things that work better for you. Like, if you want more magic find, crit rate, speed, etc. They also have a week per month where you can do 3 lines instead of 2. So don't worry too much about finding the most perfect piece of gear. Rings. Let's talk about rings for a moment. Rings are a crapshoot. First, you'll need max ring crafting to get the best tier, or you're gonna have to buy it from players. The stats are random and cannot be changed. This is truly the hardest moment of crafting gear. Remember though, any class can equip any ring, even if it's class specific. They just can't use the bonuses on it. Crystal ring crafting also requires level 30 and Paragon items. So if you're not 30 yet, worry about that later on and just get what you can. The items you need to craft crystal rings come from Paragon leveling. Head to the crafting area to see what you need for your ring craft. You can also craft 3 Trovian loops per week at the Bomber Royale bench. Ring crafting is very random, and I cannot actually give you any good advice on this, as there is no trick to get the best ring. It's all just down to luck. The last piece we really need to talk about is your banner. Banners can be crafted from Delve crafting tables. These can come in every rarity except for Crystal. The highest rarity is Pristine or Radiant looking, and when crafting you can target a few stats, but the rest and rarity is just absolutely random. Craft them for Mastery and Styles. You can get all the items needed through Delves, just completely randomly. After that come Torches, which are another type of banner, and they are your endgame banner. So, what is a torch exactly though? A torch is a banner from a specific boss called a Leviathan. This torch has a huge light stat on it. Get it? Ha 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 ha. Anyway, this is why it's very coveted. What's a Leviathan? A Leviathan, or a Levy, is a boss in the Geo topside. Each one has a different type of Leviathan as well. The light stat is what most people go for on these. Each Leviathan Shadow Vault drops a torch, and needs a special key, which you can craft on the Leviathan, right outside the Leviathan vault when you kill it. It's very convenient. However, torches only last one day, and if you have 3 of the same, you can craft them into one that lasts a week. Well, it says it lasts a week, however it goes by a weekly reset. So make sure you craft your torches on Mondays. There is a rare chance that the vault drops a permanent torch, or you can do the badge achievement and get one for free after so many Leviathan kills. Good luck. Remember that when you get your permanent torch item, you will have the option to craft a specific stat on it. Choose carefully, as this is permanent, and one of the rarest items in the game. Many haven't even seen their first. I honestly haven't either, because I haven't tried. But I do suggest you pick a nice overall stat so you can use it on all your classes. Let's talk crystal crafting. Step back a moment, because crystal gear needs just a little bit more information. Crystal gear has a stat on it called light. It's the first time you'll be seeing this stat. It cannot be rolled off or changed. All crystal gear will have this. It'll be very important towards the end game. There are many sources of light, including pets, food, and banners. Crystal gear requires special materials called crystalline cores. They also need a lot of ore called nitroglycerine. The ore is easy to get, the cores not so much. Every day you can go and clear a 5-star dungeon in a specific amount of time and gain lesser Geodian topside caches. There's a gold, silver, and bronze version, so you can get a few caches just by clearing one dungeon. However, after that, you'll only get one Geodian cache every time you clear a 5-star dungeon in the topside area. Besides daily and weekly ways to get crystalline cores, you can buy them in the cache shop in the greater cache version. Crystal gear in levels 1 and 2 only break down into cosmic dust. However, 3 and 4 break down into 10 and 15 cores respectively. You can also get crystalline cores from Bomber Royale bench weekly. And your tomes once you craft one. The tome is rather expensive and difficult to craft, but it's a great investment in the long run. Nitro can also be farmed topside in any Uber. Depending on how you wish to go about this, you can choose to farm these items on Tuesday during boosted drops, where a lot of people will be running groups doing this, or you could do it solo. It's really up to you. Which crystal gear do I upgrade though? Well, that's up to you. However, I wouldn't upgrade Crystal 1 gear. Crystal 2 is easier to get than you think after you get your first set of Crystal 1 plus Crystal Gems. It'll be so easy. Just remember though, you can equip your old items to other classes, so it's never truly a waste of time which one you pick. Just make sure you at least put 9 pearls on each piece of gear. You'll need the light stat boost to do damage in other areas, and it's a good source of PR. Let's talk food. Even though this isn't a real piece of equipment, food plays a big role in power here, but mostly in your light stat, which is huge. You can get a lot of free food in the delves just by clearing them. Doing your weeklies, you should have more than enough. Some of the best food can also have its own box to just get a lot more of it. So just make sure you have enough equipped, as it does decay over time when equipped. But that should be all for equipment for now. Let's move on. Gems are meat and potatoes. They're going to be your main focus in this game for getting stronger. They come in 4 elements: water, fire, air, and cosmic. 2 types, fierce or physical, and arcane or magical. And then 3 subtypes: lesser, which you can equip 8 of, empowered, which you can equip 4 of, and then a class specific, which can be any of the elements except for cosmic. This is also counted as an empowered gem, and you can only equip 1. You'll need to hit level 30 to unlock all your slots. Remember, gems are interchangeable. If you wish to transfer them to another class, drag them to your inventory. It'll ask you if you wish to unsocket the gem. Say yes, because if you don't do it right, you may accidentally destroy it instead. So make sure you're dragging it to your inventory, and try not to loot collect it or permanently delete it. Let's dive into some specifics. So our basic and first type of gem you'll encounter is a lesser gem. They're found in Uber boxes, and they get stronger the higher the Uber. They come in all the same rarities of equipment, from common to crystal. However, they don't come in a crystal rank, crystal 1 through 4. You cannot upgrade gems to the next rarity except for stellar gems. This will be explained in a moment. All lesser gems have random stats and quality. You can check the quality at the Gem Forge. Then there are powered gems. Similar to lesser gems, they also have random stats, except they all have passive side effect stats too. You can only equip 1 of each effect. They can only come in the 3 rarities: Radiant, Stellar, and Crystal. The types of gems can be seen on screen, and we'll take a few moments to explain them, or you can hit pause on the video and read them, or click the link below. For water, fire, and air only gems, they can come in the following effects. For empowered: Stinging Curse, dealing damage applies damage over time effects to enemies. Volatile Velocity, increases the shot speed of projectiles. Spirit Surge, taking damage has a chance to spawn a ring of projectiles, applying damage over time to enemies based on your max health. Mired Mojo, taking damage has a chance to spawn a ring of snaring projectiles, reducing enemy movement speed. Stun Burst, taking damage has a chance to spawn a ring of stunning projectiles, briefly disabling affected enemies. Pyrodisc, killing an enemy has a chance to generate a flaming disc that damages nearby enemies. Explosive Epilogue, killing enemies causes them to explode. And Cubic Curtain, avoiding damage grants a protective shield, absorbing the next attack and stunning the attacker. Cosmic gems have their own special abilities as well. Berserk Battler, damaging enemies causes a frenzied state, adding small increase to attack speed and light. Continued damage to enemies extends the frenzied state until it causes a berserk state, greatly increasing attack speed and light. Empyrean Barrier, periodically applies a shield that reduces incoming damage. When the shield is destroyed, it will explode, damaging nearby enemies. Flower Power, taking damage has a chance to spawn a blast flower, which will decay and explode, damaging nearby enemies. Vampirian Vanquisher, dealing a critical hit to enemies has a chance to increase movement speed and cause the next hit to leech health. And finally, there are class gems. These gems can change how you play the class entirely, or just simply change how one skill works. These gems can only be obtained in Radiant, Stellar, and Crystal rarity. I'll have a description on screen of each one and a link below for you to read them or save for later. Now let's talk about how to acquire these gems. Let's get down to how you can get these gems yourself. You've probably been drowning in lesser gems from Uber boxes, but you don't have many or any empowered gems. What gives? So, lesser gems come from Ubers from completing dungeons and killing bosses, correct? However, empowered gems only come from empowered gem boxes, and those don't drop. That's not fair. How do I get them? Fear not! I will show you every way to obtain empowered gem boxes. If you do your tutorial gem quest, you should be rewarded with a few. How do you get more? There's a few ways. Most of these are weekly, however. The easiest way is the gem tome. The tome itself is not easy to obtain, but is a weekly granted method. You will only get one per tome a week. The second easiest method is through the weekly rankings. If you have all classes unlocked, you can do the participation method and acquire 125 points for each class on the rankings. They all reward 4 boxes each, and can be claimed on Mondays if you meet the requirements. There's also 2 other ranking methods to acquire them as well, and they are rotating each week. Meet the requirements to gain the 2 more. Through rankings alone, that's 14 boxes. Another method is acquiring your lunar souls from delves and exchanging them for boxes in the shadow market in the shadow towers. You can gain 18 lunar souls per week, and that's a 1-to-1 ratio. That's a potential of 32 boxes per week. Another way to obtain Empower Gems is by loot collecting the ones we don't need and crafting new boxes in the Adventurer crafting bench. There are other ways to obtain these, but they cost credits. The Radiant Merchant will trade you Radiant Sovereigns for boxes with a 1-to-1 ratio. Sovereigns are obtained through events, mastery, and purchases in the shop. Gem Booster Boxes are another way to obtain with credits or cubits. It's rare they are in the booster boxes themselves, as they are meant to help upgrade your gems. They are not worth it typically. You may also see special deals in the shop that sell them individually or in packs. These are not worth your money. Please don't buy these unless you absolutely need them or they are a bonus item. Class gems are also counted towards your empowered gems. You don't have to have class gems, however. Class gems are only obtainable in Shores of the Everdark. You'll need class gem keys to open these boxes. Only ever try to get a class gem on the highest uber possible, as it can drop the gem in crystal rarity. They require you to do 3 rounds of boss enemies, and then the class gem is based on which class opens it. Which means you can clear the content on a class and then open it with another, bypassing the power rank requirements. Class gem keys are crafted from fragments or found whole in empowered gem boxes. They can also be acquired through the weekly contest. You need to craft them at the Adventurer's crafting bench. Now let's talk about target farming, stats, and upgrading your gems. So now that we know exactly how to get these gems, let's talk about how to target farm our perfect gems and upgrading them. Gems come with 2 or 3 stats. If you have a gem with only 2 stats, trash it. Just loot collect it. It's garbage. Get it out of here. That includes your empowered or class gems. But if you're starting out, you can keep them. Just don't keep lesser ones with only 2 stats. And don't fully upgrade the empowered ones. Why? Let's get into basic upgrading and discuss that. Let's talk about what happens when you upgrade a gem. Gems require 2 things for upgrades: flux and gem dust up to a certain point. Then they require a bit more. Did you know that gems can get pearls on them as well? Not exactly, but they function in the same way. Every 5th, 10th, and 15th level your gem gets, you can get a random boost. The gem can only get 3 boosts. However, if a gem only has 2 stats, its first boost becomes a new stat, and it will never reach its full potential. You'll waste 1 boost on a new stat. That's why 2-stat gems should be avoided. Now that you know that, let's continue. Gems require gem dust and flux up to a certain level. How do we get dust? From opening our Uber boxes and loot collecting other gems. But what if I need a specific type? Then head over to one of the corresponding areas to get a 100% guaranteed gem box drop. Drowned for water, Skylands for air, Igneous for fire, and Topside for cosmic. Every boss monster in Dungeon has a 100% drop rate for boxes, but in the Prime Uber worlds, they do not. You can gain a lot more during Wednesday with the 50% more drop rate or 100% more with Patron. Clubs can also have a gem boost. So feel free to farm up and grab whatever gems you need. Now back to upgrading. Gems have a level cap depending on rarity. The only gems you should truly be maxing and worrying about are Stellar and Crystal rarity, however. Stellar can max out at 25, and Crystal at 30. At level 25 for Stellar gems, they can get an option to become a Crystal with Crystal Gem Converters. These can be crafted in the Sundered Uplands. They require a lot of materials though. You can also buy a converter for 15,000 cubits. From levels 25 to 27, gems require Dust and Gem Sparks. Gem Sparks can be crafted at Adventurers benches or found in gem boxes in Uber 10+. They are very uncommon and can be expensive to craft at first. They are 30,000 gem dust each, but can be broken down to base dust as well. At level 28 to 30, they start to require gem sparks and a primal gem shard. Gem shards are 4 of each gem spark. As far as I know, they need to be crafted. That's 120,000 gem dust of each type, 480,000 in total. And there's no guarantee you'll succeed either. It's best to try and start your endgame journey with crystal gems as a base, which start showing up at Uber 10+, and more commonly at Uber 11+. Have you noticed the horseshoes, ladybugs, and ninth lives in your gem upgrade area? Those are boosters. At any point in time while upgrading, your gem can automatically level up. With a booster, you can level up multiple times. It's a bit uncommon, however. It does, however, give you a boost to your next level with a lot faster without. As you can see with this gem level experience bar, the booster helps a lot. Save these for the last few levels of your upgrade, especially ninth lives. The items required to make these boosters are from weekly tomes, events, and contests. They are a bit hard to come by. Ninth lives are extremely hard to get, and probably the most pay-to-win item in the game. I would only use these at the very last 2 levels. In the Adventurer bench, you'll need 1 Primal Shard, 25 Empowered Fragments, and 5 Phoenix Mote, which are found rarely in the Sundered Uplands. You can target a specific type of Empowered Gem, however, you could easily open up a box and get Class Key Fragments instead. Use at your own risk. I would only use my cubits on converters for your Empowered Gems, but that's really up to you. Let's get into some more complicated stuff. As you know by now, gems come with random stats, but are they actually random? Yes they are. But you can change them. Better yet, you can make them more powerful. At the Adventurer bench, you'll find a few things that you can craft that increase your stats on gems. These are called Focus, and they do a small, medium, and large increase. When using them in the Gem Forge, you can see what % your gem stat is. Closer to 100, the better, and easier the process. However, this is rare to find a gem that it has all stats over 70%. Focus aren't very easy to craft. They require brown brilliance, and there are many ways to get this item. Tomes, weekly craft in the Brahma Royale, weekly contests, events. These are also some expensive and time-gated resources though. There are a lot of ways you can make your own gems. My personal favorite way is to find a gem that's close to 100% on all stats, and then change the stat to something else, which is the next part of our discussion. Man, if only I could stop all this massive RNG. Oh? We can? How? So in the Gem Forge, you can reroll stats. Yep, that's right, you can reroll your stats if needed. There's items called Contain Chaos Sparks, and it allows you to reroll the selected stat. Yes, you get to select the stat and reroll it. This is still RNG, however you can target the stat you need and you'll eventually get it. Usually takes a few tries. You can also move your gem boost. So if you got unlucky with your gem boost, you can move it to a new spot using a Contain Chaos Flare. You can randomly move the assigned boost. This can be useful to help increase damage or increase any stat you may be missing. Speaking of stats, let's pick the best ones for you. Your stats per class will vary here and there. Your best stats will be the following: crit hit chance until 100%, crit hit damage as much as you can get, physical or magical damage depending on your class, then any health. After a certain point, health may be the only stat that makes any sense. Hey, you didn't mention light. Why didn't I mention light? Well, Light can only be found on cosmic gems. It cannot be changed or re-rolled. It will always have light, and your best bet on cosmic gems is to force all your gem boosts on light. The idea here is when you decide to level or play another class, you can transfer similar gems to that class to make it easier to level or play. You want to get that class its own gems in the end though, as the subclass grows stronger and the higher its power rank. That was a long section, but I think you've got it. If you missed anything, I'm sure this will have you going the right direction and figuring it out all on your own. If not, you can just ask questions below. Lastly, let's look at our star chart. We're going to take a look at our skill tree or our star chart. There really isn't a quest line for this in the game at the moment, as far as I know. Star chart's kind of simple though, but it's a very long grind. Talking to the Celestial to get started, it'll offer you some Celestial Spheres for Flux. Go ahead and grab anything that is Flux related. You'll need these, as the rest of your items are going to cost Astral Echoes to purchase. You'll get Astral Echoes from any dungeon or delve you clear. It's a random amount and sometimes inconsistent. So this will take a while, but can be farmed. Then you'll head to the Grand Array. This is our chart, our map of the stars. Each dot is a star. Each star grants a bonus. The paths are blocked by major stars and need to be unlocked. You'll need constellation keys, and you can only get these with qubits or credits, no other way. The amount of keys can be a lot, so have those qubits and your dailies done every day. Make sure you pick your paths and stars closely, as resetting your chart requires a constellation key. Thankfully, every major star you unlock is permanently unlocked. Take your time to look over what paths you wish to take and what bonuses you want to unlock. There is no best tree, no matter what anyone tells you. It is not per class, it is account based. If you found a main class you won't be changing at all, you can chart your best path there. Or if you like many classes, you can chart a path that benefits everyone on your account. I prefer this method personally because I can get more XP, light, and magic find that way. There really isn't too much else to the star chart. It's a nice passive stat boost and can unlock some fun pets, mounts, and even dragons. A lot of choices to be made here, so focus on what seems obtainable and enjoyable for you. Whew, that was a long video. I would have loved to break it up into some smaller videos, but a lot of these things go hand in hand, and why break them up over multiple videos? A one-stop guide feels needed, and it feels good not to have to hunt down a million different things. I hope I did a good enough job of explaining things in terms and ways that you find easy to digest and easy to follow. If I missed anything game-changing or something you feel like needed to be in this guide, please drop it down below and I'll pin your comment or figure out a way to get it out there. I hope this video helps you enjoy Trove even more and solve some questions you may have had. I stream over at twitch.tv/det. I may not be streaming Trove as it's not my main game anymore. I still play it a lot and it was one of my first games I ever streamed on my channel. Hope to see you there. Alright. Be safe, be well, peace.